Hello and welcome. About AWS free tier. AWS encourage you to learn AWS cloud computing, and for that it has given you a free tier access. By taking this access, you can use plenty of AWS services, resources and its products and learn before you actually make a decision of using it or implementing it in your actual infrastructure. AWS have plenty of services. So let's check it. What all services are we gonna get in free tier account? So let's just Google AWS free tier and we go to its official website. So here is the information about AWS free tier. When we are going to sign up for AWS free tier account, these are the free services we can access, and there are plenty. So for example, Amazon EC2, which is for virtual machines. We have 750 hours of free per month, and we need to select right EC2 instance. That doesn't mean that 750 hours of any instance you can use. We have some limitation and I'm going to guide you through it, but you'd be able to easily learn and understand and use it also in production. Likewise, you have Amazon S3, which is a storage service. We can have 5 GB of free storage over there, and that way we can also learn S3 service. Then we have AWS Lambda 1 million free request, Amazon RDS, which is database service, 750 hours of free tier for DB-T2 micro. This is going to be the type of this instance. And like that, there are so many other services. 12 months free. In this section you can see. So for 12 months, once you set up a free tier account, you can use it for 12 months. If you want, anytime you can upgrade, but you can keep it for 12 months. And in those 12 months, you can use, like for example, for EC2, you can use 750 hours of free tier per month, but only for 12 months, like that. There are so many other services like Cloudwatch for monitoring. We get 10 free metrics. For IoT, for EFS, which is a shared storage, we get 5 GB. So that way we can learn all these services. Load balancing, 750 hours. So when you think about learning AWS, this is the first thing you should do. You have to set up a free tier account. And let me guide you through how to set up a free tier account. So let's just search for AWS sign up free tier. So here you get an option, create a free account. Now you need a few things to fill in over there. Let me just pull up a notepad and give you a few details before we actually do this setup. So to set up an AWS free tier account, you will need an email ID and you need to verify it. Okay, it should be owned by you, not your organization. Even if it's your organization's, then you should be able to verify it. You need to give a phone number, mostly a mobile phone, and you're going to get a call. Sometimes you don't get, you're going to get a call for a verification. You have to press some number, what appears on your screen, and then your mobile number will be also verified. Now there is one more thing, card detail. So your credit card or debit card is also accepted, but do not panic already. We are going to use free tier account, so money won't get deducted from your account, but this is for verification, and there'll be very small amount that will get deducted, like 1 rupee for an Indian card. If it's an international card, probably $1. Nothing more than that. That's just for verification. Once all these three things are verified, then you can start using AWS free tier account. And you need to follow me and don't try to bypass and try to use any other service which you don't know. Otherwise you will end up having bills on your account. So follow and be safe. So first we need to give the email address. So I'm going to set up give an email address, and password. Make sure you set up complicated password, alphanumeric, and you don't want to try this one of settings easy password. Okay, this is going to bounce back because there are people all over looking to hack in your AWS accounts. But follow my lead and I will make sure that you set up the AWS account securely and use it also securely. I'm going to guide you through and through about that. The first step is set up a complicated password. So I'm going to set 1. And AWS account name, this is new thing. So let's give a name, DevOps Metrics. Let me try that name. Now here we have two types of account, professional and personal. We are going to go with personal. As long as you're not setting up for an organization, I recommend you go for personal. You give your phone number, you give your country, fill in all the details, and after this I'm not going to follow you because the next screen comes where you need to enter the card details. Then you give the card details and your account will be set up. So like that, the next screen is of the card details. So fill in your card detail. You can give a debit card also. Once you give that, it will be submitted and your AWS free tier account will get created. Once your account is set up, verify your email address, verify your phone number, and card will get verified automatically. You'll have some amount deducted from your card. It's gonna be only a rupee, 1 rupee, or probably $1 if it's an international card. And then that's it. Then you can start logging into your account. So click on sign into console. So AWS console is the web interface for all the AWS service. In simple term, it's a website. So you give your email address and you give your password and you will log in. Once you're logged into your AWS account, your account is set up, but sometimes it happens that your account is not enabled. And there is difference. When you try to use any AWS service, it will throw you an error. Like for example, if I click on EC2, and for verification, you can just click on EC2 service. If you get something like this clean EC2 dashboard, then your account is active or enabled. But if you get an error over here, you need to complete the verification process. It will guide you, verify your phone or email or card. Once all those things are done, then you'll be able to start using the AWS services. In case you're sure that you have verified all the details, but still you're getting error, you need to contact AWS support. And it's very simple. So any problem you have with your AWS account, you can contact the support. And most of the time the response are super quick. You can like have a chat also with them. You can create case over here. Like my account is not activated, my phone number is not verified. You see my previous tickets over here. I'm gonna remove them later. So if you have any problem, just click on create case, fill in all the details. You can have the support through chat, through email, or through phone also. If for any reason they ask you the purpose of creating this AWS account, you can tell them that we have created it, or I have created it for learning AWS. There are some instances where you think you have not used any AWS service, but you still see bills. Probably you made a mistake or you're even not sure. So create a case, inform them, they will help you, and don't worry, you don't need to pay high bills if you're not used your service. Generally, they are very generous. Yeah, I know I'm batting for them, but you know, most of the time they are very generous to me and most of the people I've known around. So if you made a mistake, admit it. They will not charge you for your mistake because you're just learning AWS service. Okay. Now once your account is active, you must be very excited to use these AWS services. But hold on, there are a lot many services in AWS. AWS gives compute services like virtual machines, storage services like S3, EFS, database services like RDS, DynamoDB. Now these will be of interesting services which are of use to us being DevOps, but there are some services which you may not use, or most probably it will be used by someone else in your organization, but still you have access to all those services. Like for example, media services. If you're not in a media business, you won't be using these services. Machine learning. If you're not in machine learning, you won't be using this machine learning services. Or Internet of Things, IoT. If you're not into IoT, you won't be using these services. So don't get panicky by looking all these services. This is just to cover a broad spectrum. AWS wants to cover different kinds of use cases which can be moved to cloud computing. It doesn't mean that you should use that service. Like workspaces service provides you virtual desktops. If you don't need to use it. So in this course, we are going to focus on AWS SysOps and DevOps services like EC2, S3, RDS, Beanstack, AWS Code Commit, AWS Code Deploy. These are the services that we are going to cover, and pretty much more. But our focus is going to be on SysOps and DevOps, and not IoT or not analytics or not machine learning. You would be using some developer tools also. You see this blockchain, there's just so many things. Okay, so don't get panicky. Nobody wants you to learn all these services because it's just unnecessary. So we are going to start with securing your account first. So we are going to go to Identity Access and Management Service, IAM in short. So that's the first service I take before even explaining the dashboard and regions and stuff about AWS. I want you to secure your AWS console first of all. Once it's secure, then we can move and learn things. So we're going to see IAM service. With IAM service, you can secure your account, you can add users, you can assign them permissions. So the email address and the password that we use to log in is called as a root account, and never use root account to use AWS services. You can use root account for billings and other purpose like creating case, ticket and all those things. But if you're using like EC2 service, RDS service, S3 service, different services, do not use your root account. We will set up an IAM user and we will use all our services through that IAM user. So with IAM, you can create user. It's mandatory from a security point of view that every individual who is accessing your AWS account should have an IAM user. Okay, every individual having its own username with your AWS account. So with IAM, you can do that. Then you can decide what permission those user gets. Like root account has complete privilege, can use any service, can do anything. But let's say you have a developer who needs access to S3 service. You don't want to give that user complete access. So you'll create an IAM user for the developer, and you will assign the permission on, let's say, S3 service. Again, in S3 also you have read permission, write permission, and different policies, more granular permission you can set. So it's better we lock down first and we enable permissions for the user. Then you have a password based login through the console, but you can also secure it with multi-factor authentication. Multi-factor authentication is second form of authentication similar to OTP. We are going to use Google Authenticator to generate 6-digit MFA code which you can use to log in. So you need to provide password plus 6-digit MFA code to log into your AWS console. Then IAM also gives you IAM roles. IAM roles are generally used for services. Let's say EC2 service wants to access the data in the S3 storage. So a service wants to access another service. In that case, you can assign role to the EC2 instance that you are allowed to access S3 service. You can assign permission. It's going to be similar to IAM user, but IAM user is used for an individual. IAM role is used for a service. So you can create user by yourself, or also you can integrate it with some identity federation. Like for example, in your corporate network, you already have an identity service provider. You can get a temporary access and move them to AWS account. That also you can do. And there are few other benefits that we are going to get with IAM. But first, we will set up an IAM user, assign it admin privilege, and secure it with multi-factor authentication. So let's go with this service, IAM. In IAM, you can go to users, and here you can click on add user and give a username. Let's say I'm going to create a user named as DevOps admin. Now we have two kinds of access over here for the IAM user. One is console based access, the username and password, usual one to log in through the browser. Another one is programmatic access. As of now, don't touch it. We will talk about it later and we'll use it also. This is used for API or command line, CLI or SDK. So you can let it generate a password or you can give a custom password. So I'm going to give a custom password and I'll say user must reset the password when at the time of login. So let's put a check mark there. Next permission. Now that creates the user, but the user should have what kind of permission? Permission can be given in form of group. You can create a group which has a permission and you can add the user into that group. You can copy the permission from an existing user, which we don't have, or we can give the policies. AWS gives you permissions in form of policies. You can use this policy and assign it to a user. Administrator access will give full permission to all the services. But then if you want to secure it, let's say only for EC2 service, so you can search for EC2 and look for EC2 full access there. You can also have EC2 read-only access. So the user cannot do anything else apart from reading it. You can assign multiple policies like that. So I'm going to go with first EC2 full access and then we will change it to administrator access. All these policies are written in JSON. If you want, you can create your own policy, and in the very granular level you can decide what permission a user can get. Probably you want a user to access only one particular EC2 instance and not all of them. So such kind of granular permission can be done by creating the policy. So when you click on create policy, it will open JSON editor, or you can select some permission and give granular permission there also, but again it's in JSON format. And later in the course we are going to use some policy generator and create policy for us. As of now we are going to just use policy given to us by AWS. So let's go to next. Tags. We are going to talk about tags later, but tags are labels. So like name, DevOps admin. If you can give, you can give other tags like project, DevOps, like that, or owner. You can give multiple tags over there. These are labels, and again these are optional, but it's easy to filter if you have tags. So finally the user will get created. Click on create user. User is created. You can download its information, which is in CSV format, and just say close. Okay, now let's log in with this user. So this user login is not going to be like a root login. We need to have the account number and the complete FQDN. So you can find the login URL by clicking on the user, go to security credentials, and there you can get the console sign in link. From this link the user can sign in to this account. So let's copy that, and I'm going to open another browser, Firefox, from where I have not signed, because if I click on this it will sign me out. So on the Firefox browser I put that URL. So that's the account number, and now the username and the password. So user is a DevOps admin, and we have set some password. Sign in. This is IAM user login, okay? And I need to reset my old password. So I'm going to do confirm password change. Do not take these passwords for granted, okay? Set complicated, otherwise you can face consequences. And for password, longer the password, better it is. Okay, so set long password alphanumeric. Okay, we are in and we are logged in with DevOps admin user in this account. Now we can use EC2 service without any problem. And later we'll see how to use EC2 service and all. See, not getting any permission error or anything. But if I try to use any other service, let's say for example RDS, which is relational database service, And I try to do something here, DB instances. Okay, you see, already it's throwing me out. Okay, create database. I don't recommend you doing this. Okay, don't try this. It's just to show you that this user can access only EC2 service because only that permission is given, but cannot access any other service. So we will come back and we will give this user more permission because we want this user to be administrator and using everything. So we'll go to permissions, add permission, and go to attach existing policies, administrator access. This is gonna give full permission. Next, review, add permission. Okay, that's done. Now probably we need to re-log in or just again try to use RDS service. I don't recommend you playing with RDS service. We can accidentally get bills if you're not sure what you're doing. Create database. Okay, you see now I am able to access the RDS service also, and for that matter I can access any service. That's good, but we have just password based authentication. We need to have now multi-factor authentication. I'm going to sign out from here. And you can think this as a mandatory for this course. Set up an IAM user and set up multi-factor authentication. So now I'm back in the IAM users and I'm going to go to security credentials, multi-factor authentication, click on this. Now either you can use a hardware device that can be shipped to your address, or you can use virtual MFA device. So we are going to use virtual MFA device, and Google Authenticator is the most famous one. So here I'm going to click on show QR code, and once it shows the code, I'm going to use my phone. In my phone, I'm going to install Google Authenticator and I'm going to scan this barcode. So I recommend you install Google Authenticator on your phone. So let me show you a few things. So once you install Google Authenticator on your phone and you open that app, you'll get something like that, but you won't see any numbers. You click on this plus symbol, and once you do it, it will open up your camera. Once the camera opens up, you scan this barcode. So you get a 6-digit number when you scan the barcode. And anyways, I'm going to delete this later. You should not share this with anyone, okay? And after 30 seconds, this number will reset. In your phone, you can keep checking it. You're going to get one more 6-digit number. And then say assign MFA. Close. So now this user, DevOps admin, needs to give password and also MFA to log in. So now let's sign in. Now I am on my Firefox browser. And the username and the password. So I have reset the password, so I'm going to use that new password now. Now there you go. You need to give MFA code. So you need to have your phone now, check your MFA code, what's there in your Google Authenticator, and give that number, and you would be then logged in. So it's like a protection, one more level of security. So consider that mandatory of setting up multi-factor authentication. You have to also set up multi-factor authentication for the root account. So you go to my security credential there, go to multi-factor authentication, activate MFA, and now the same process for your root account. So now root account will be also secured with MFA and also your normal user. This way you can be sure that if anybody even gets access to your password, they won't be able to log in on your AWS account. So that's it in this video. We are going to see more in IAM. We're going to talk about groups, roles, policies, and so many other things in latest video. But for this, for now, secure your account and then start using your AWS services. So thank you for watching this video. I will see you in the next one.